The most important thing for teachers and students using a textbook is to learn something that can be used in situations other than the ones stipulated in the book. This is the second out of 6 lessons on learning how to use these direct and indirect speech and transforming from one to the other using a noun clause in this lesson. This lesson can be used with Mega Goal 6, Traveler 6, and Flying High 5. This lesson uses the following color code. There is before you start, there is learning, there is do it alone, and there is test yourself. So as we said, today's lesson is going to focus on reported speech using a noun clause. People who have watched the first out of the 6 will remember that the reason that we do what we do is for the following 4 principles. Since we've already mentioned them in 1, we're not going to repeat them in this one. You can read them or watch the first one. So the first step is to get everybody in the classroom activated, changing from their native language to the target language, which is English in this case, and to use comparison and contrast in their brain as a challenge so that not only the people who know English know how to do the first task. So we're going to give the students 4 sets of sentences, and the instructions are mark the changes you see in the second sentence of each pair. So they said he likes gossip. They said that he liked gossip. We are living in Dubai, they told me. They told me that they were living in Dubai. Abir and Khulud said, we're going to the mall. Abir and Khulud said that they were going to the mall. I have a new car, Ibrahim said. Ibrahim said that he had a new car. Now, instead of lecturing, explaining, and talking to students who are learning a second language, which means that they might not be able to hold all the information, the point is to activate the thinking process so that this learning can be internalized in steps and become automatic. So after the students finish this by themselves, don't tell them how to do it, we move to the start learning. Now, start learning always means that you don't remember the rules, you internalize the rules. The rules become part of you. And that doesn't happen with just an explanation. It has to be something that is learned in steps and internalized in steps. So let's have a look. After the students do it, then we're going to start to give them feedback based on the following slides. What are the changes in the second sentence of the pair? Check. So the first sentence said, they said he likes gossip. Good. In the second one, there was no comma after said. Oh, look, we added the word that. Oh, there are no quotation marks after, or sorry, before he. Oh, he is not capitalized. Oh, look at likes has been changed to like. And there are no quotation marks after the period after gossip. So when the student is doing this, the process is being internalized, not just by listening to somebody, but by actually actively doing it. And when we talk about active learning, that doesn't mean we give them exercises to do. It means we help them step the process into doing it. So let's look at the next one. This is the exact words that were said. These were not the exact words that were spoken. Let's look at the second one. We are living in Dubai, they told me. They told me that they were living in Dubai. So what are the changes? Well, there is no comma after me or period. We added the word that. We did not put any quotation marks. We changed the they instead of we said we are living in Dubai. It's been changed to they. and are has been changed to were. There are no quotation marks. So the exact words were, we are living in Dubai, and the reported ones are that they were living in Dubai. Let's look at one more. What are the changes that occurred in the second pair of sentences? Abir and Khulud said, we're going to the mall. Let's see. Abir and Khulud said, okay, no comma. We added the word that, no quotation mark. We changed to they, and they is not capitalized. The are has been changed to were, and there are no quotation marks. Please avoid trying to give the rules now. What we are doing, we are priming the brain. So in order for the brain to start learning, we have to prime it and set conditions that will allow learning to happen. And the first step here is use your processing in the brain of comparison and contrast to see the differences. And this can be done by everybody, not just the person who knows English. These are the exact words, and these were not the exact words. And here's the last one out of the 4 sets. I have a new car, Ibrahim said. Ibrahim said, no comma or period. No that. Or we added the word that. No quotation marks. The I have a new car has been changed to he has a new car, and it's not capitalized. The have has been changed to had, and there are no quotation marks at the end. These are the exact words Ibrahim said. These are not the exact words that Ibrahim said. So the process we're using is, after you have done the first step, you are going to do a task that will help you start to consolidate and structure your learning. So let's look at the instructions here. Circle the reporter in each sentence and underline what the reporter said. Right next to the sentence, exact words or not exact words. So you can see where we're going here is that when the reader starts to recognize that these are the exact words and these are not the exact words, we have started to build up the process of going from direct to indirect or reported speech. So the first one, they said he likes gossip. We'll just show the answer, but in the student PowerPoint version, it can be done more slowly, and you can do it one step at a time. So here is what we've got. The reporter in each sentence, this is the reporter, and the exact words were, he likes gossip, so we said exact words. Musad said that he wanted to see the movie. Musad is the reporter. He wanted to see a movie, were not the exact words. Maha said that she was going to the supermarket. Maha is the reporter, that she was going to the supermarket, not exact words. My children are at university, Khaled said. My children are at university, exact words, reporter Khaled. So those are the exact words. The students said, we have to keep our school clean. And again, the students are the student is the reporter, or the students are the reporters. And the exact words, we have to keep our school clean. Fatma said that she had to go home immediately. Those were not the reporter's exact words. Now let's go back to learning again. Now we want to see how we're going to build up the noun clause and what goes on in the noun clause and how the words change. And in this part, we're going to focus on whether the words refer to the reporter or to someone else. Musad said, I want to see a movie. Musad is the reporter. I is the subject or the who of the quote. The I refers to Musad. Let's try another one. They said he likes gossip. The reporter is they, the subject of the quote or the who of the quote. So it's not just the subject. the subject can be a thing and can be a person. We need to focus that when we're talking about he, because the reporter is going to be a person. So we can only focus on the who subject, not the what subject. He does not refer to the reporter. It does not refer to they. He refers to someone else. So this is the build-up process that we want the students to start being able to do, is to not just read words in the sentence, but the brain actively can create referent or no referent to something else. So we're going to give them now a task to do. Notice the strategy we do. We do something, we give them a task to do. We give them something, we give them a task to do. And this continuously keeps the attention of the learner heightened, and the short-term memory is not overwhelmed by too much coming in, that by the time they're ready to start doing a task, they have forgotten it. We need to understand that students are not only learning one subject. This is not a course. This is part of a school system, and there are 6 to 8 different subjects a day. So we need to help them learn rather than to say, here, I explained it to you, that's enough learning. So the instructions here are: draw an arrow from the subject to the quote, to the reporter, if it refers to the reporter. Draw an arrow to the subject of the quote away from the reporter if it refers to someone else. So notice that the first one we did in the green and the learning prepares them and gives them the instructions of what to do. This is very important because sometimes we think that the students don't know, but what it is, they do not understand what is required of them. So we use the same process that we help them to learn it in order for them to do it alone. And why do we want them to draw arrows and boxes and annotate? Because this slows down the process. It doesn't jump and it doesn't leave gaps. And it's also visible learning. So it's easier for someone giving feedback. Instead of saying, why don't you tell me all about how you did it? We can take one look and say, okay, here is the gap in your processing. So when they finish that, we're going to give them feedback, either by telling them to ask each other first and tell each other how they did it, or we can put this up and show them how it's done. So what we're going to do first is going to find the reporter, right? And then we're going to find the subject who of the quote. And then we're going to see, does it refer to the reporter or does it refer to someone else? So my children and Khalid are not the same. So Khalid, my children does not refer to Khalid. My children refers to someone other than Khalid. So let's imagine there is Khalid. The word is not talking about Khalid. It's talking about somebody else, the children. Okay, let's look at the second one. The reporter, the students. The subject of the quote is we. What we need to find out, does the we refer to someone else or does it refer to the reporter, the students? It refers to the reporter, to the students. Now, let's learn some more. We want to label the reporter and circle the subject of the reported clause. So we'll draw an arrow away from the subject of the reported clause to the reporter if it refers to the reporter, and we will draw an arrow from the subject of the reported clause away from the reporter if it refers to someone else. Now, what's the difference between this and the previous one? The previous one had the exact words. This one is reported with a noun clause. So now the brain is starting to build up the differences that will happen here that are different from direct speech. So let's look at this one. Musad said he wanted to see a movie. Musad is the reporter. He is the subject of the clause that he wanted to see a movie, not his exact words. What was reported, this is called the noun clause now, that he wanted to see a movie. It's not a sentence. It is a clause that is taking the role of a noun. So if we're going to ask a question, we're going to say, What did Musad say? What? So notice that he wanted to see a movie is taking the role of a what. But inside the clause, there is a subject of who. Now, does the word who, he, refer to Musad or to somebody else? Let's see. He refers to the reporter Musad. So Musad and he are the same words. They said that he liked gossip. Again, the reporter is they. He is the subject of the clause. The clause is that he liked gossip. Now let's look at he. Is he and they the same or different? He does not refer to the reporter, refers to someone else. So this is the learning between the direct exact words and the non-exact words. Now we'll give the students the opportunity to do it. Notice again, the green one was not only helping the students learn, but learn how to do it as well. So now we're going to give them the chance to apply it by themselves. And when we finish, or when they finish, if you give them some time, you want them to check their answers. Maha, she is the subject. This is the clause that she was going to the supermarket, what was reported. And she and Maha are the same person. So it refers to the reporter. So can you see how this is going to start to internalize the rules by physical and cognitive methods? Cognitive is what your brain is doing. Physical is what your hand is doing. The students, reporter, they is the subject of the clause, and here it is. This is what was reported. Now, does the they and the student are the same? Do they refer to each other, or does the they refer to someone other than the students? They refers to the students. The students and they are the same people. One more, Fatma said she had to go home immediately. And Fatma is the reporter. She is the subject of the reported clause, the noun clause, and Fatma and she are the same people. So this is very important to build up the ability to do the referencing or the referent. And that's what pronouns do. They refer to someone or something that came before them or that might come after them. Now, let's learn some more. Now we're going to look at the direct and reported clause in each sentence. We're going to highlight the direct clause in yellow and the reported clause in green. Then we're going to circle the main verb in the sentence and the verb of the direct quote. We're also going to circle the main verb in the sentence and the verb of the clause. So you can see the first one is with exact words, and the second one now is with the noun clause or not the exact words. And here's where we're going to help them. So let's first of all find the clause and the reported. He likes gossip. Those are the exact words, direct. And that he liked gossip is the reported clause, or the noun clause in this case. We're going to circle the main verb in both sentences. The main verb is said in the sentence, but in the reported or the exact words, it's likes. In the second one, the main verb is said, but the verb inside the noun clause is liked. So what is the main verb of the sentence? Here, it's said. The other one is part of what was said, not the action that the speaker or the reporter took. Now let's look. We have to think this way. How does the verb of the quote change in the clause of the second sentence? It changes from likes to liked. Okay. How do we think about it? Well, we need to write this. In the direct quote verb, in the clause verb, the direct quote verb, we have likes, it changed to like, and our conclusion is that in reported speech, the verb of the noun clause is affected by the main verb of the sentence. So let's look at the difference. In the first one, those are the exact words between quotation marks. They are not affected by the main verb. In the second one, it's a noun clause, and the verb in it is affected by the main verb. Let's try it again. We are living in Dubai, they told me. They told me that they were living in Dubai. How does the verb of the quote change in the clause of the second sentence? And check your answer. We are living in Dubai, they told me. We are living in Dubai, exact words. That they were living in Dubai, not the exact words. So you want the students to be doing this. Here are the verbs. Which one is the main verb? In the first one, it's told. In the second one, it's told. Are is not the verb of the sentence. It's the verb of the exact words. Now, the next thing we need to think about is, how does it change? It went from are to where. Here is our conclusion. This is what the kids will write. Are changed to where, and in reported speech, the verb of the noun clause is affected by the main verb of the sentence. Let's try this again. Think. Do it alone. Abir and Khulud said, we're going to the mall. Abir and Khulud said that they were going to the mall. Give them some time to do it by themselves, and then check your answer. Now, always find the exact words and the reported noun clause. We are going to the mall. That they were going to the mall. If the student cannot find these two, it is going to be very difficult to move on. Then let's circle the main verbs. Abir and Khulud said. Said is the main verb. Are and where are the verbs inside the exact words and the noun clause. Then they need to think. How does the verb change from the exact words to the clause? And then they write, are changes to where. And this will help them, again, as I said, internalize the rules of the language. And here's another one, the last one. Again, give them some time to do it. So this can be projected, or it can be done remotely, and the students need to write down their answers, and then we're going to check. I have a new car, that he had a new car. The main verb has got to be said. Again, the clause and the direct exact words are not the main sentence in this case, because we have Ibrahim said something. What did he say? I have a new car. So I have a new car is a what of the sentence. It's not a sentence by itself. And we think, how does the verb change? Oh, look at this. Have has changed to had. Our conclusion is, in a direct quote, the verb is have. In the clause, the verb is had. And this is what we do. And now you give them the final test yourself. And remember, as I said in the first one, the first lesson out of 6, when the students are able to do this, you can do exactly the same thing in a test, but just change the content. And why is that important? Because the student comes to the test or the quiz and goes, I know what you're going to give me. I know exactly what you want me to do. I don't know what you want me to do it on. So tests and quizzes and assessment procedures should not be guessing games. You need to know exactly what you have learned, how to do it. The only thing you don't know is what the content is going to be. Don't keep changing the test tool and make it different from the learning tool, because we need to build up. And sometimes the students may make a lot of mistakes, is that They are not familiar with the tool. But when the students are familiar with all the tools, then we can mix and match. So let's look at this one. Write the verb in its correct form in the blank. I like to watch football, Hussein said. Hussein said that he. So notice now we're applying how the verb changes from an exact words to the noun clause and reported speech. I want a steak, French fries, and a green salad, said Maha. Maha said that she, blank, a steak, etc. Mariam has a new house, her sister said. Mariam's sister said that Mariam, a new house. Now notice the second one is a higher level where you need to do the whole thing by yourself. You need to rewrite it, not just fill in the blank. And the B is more appropriate as a measuring tool than just fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks help you see or create small, excuse me, bite size in order to know if the student is able to do parts of it. I deserve a praise for passing the algebra exam, Ahmed said. Ahmed said, you continue. My boss tells everyone to be on time, said Abdullah. Abdullah said, and again, Miriam is in her new house, her sister said. Miriam's sister said. So you can actually replicate this many times, but up to this level. Do not mix. For example, don't use questions. They haven't learned how to report questions yet. They have not learned how to report exclamations yet. This is what we mean, the difference between a quiz, a test, and an exam. In the quiz, we only give them the tool, which is very similar to what they've been doing, and then check if they can do it. By the time we finish lesson 6, you can mix everything together. And of course, you've got the answers. Hussein said that he liked to watch football. Ma said that she wanted a steak. And Miriam's sister said that Miriam had a new house. And here, Ahmed said that he deserved praise for passing the algebra exam. And honestly, because they've learned how to use the mechanics of capitalization and punctuation in one, here is the time when we say punctuation and capitalization is part of the correction here. So you can see how the build-up goes from 1 to 2. What you learn in 1 has to be applied in 2. We cannot disregard what you learned in 1 anymore. And we would like to say thank you for participating. And this is at the end of how we are dividing what the student will be able to do, what the end of the session assessment, and you can use that for management and write the date when you gave this. Thank you very much. And if you would like to contact us.